Hi everybody, MJ here again, man. Anyway, figured out what is going on with that. Hey, topic, how you doing? Let me just check something. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Got something weird going on the side here. Anyway, how's it going, MJ here? And I used one Chinese word in the title because I find that when I use Chinese, it goes across different cultures. Really? How are you, Jan? We're having YouTube problems. I'm going to check it right now. YouTube is acting weird. Now it's here. We're on YouTube. They changed how they do their whole ingest. If I go to live chat on YouTube, yeah, see, Mike's there. Hey, Mike, how you doing? All right, nice to have you with us. My goodness. I had a little glitch earlier because good. Jan, you know, if you want to go to YouTube, we're on YouTube now. We've got a big Filipino contingent here tonight, and they're ordering a bunch of stuff. So there's like there was about 10 people here. Now I got my purple mask on. And, yeah. So we just came from the night market earlier, and I had this great idea. Now, that is some Costco sausage. He put it. Yeah. Well, that's what I was doing yesterday. Good evening. Fist bump to you, Dave. How you doing? Nice to see you. And so this is what Costco sausage looks like. You know, the Bavarian sausage. See, in Costco, we have a lot of indigenous products too from Taiwan, and this is by a company called Futong, and they do like Bavarian sausage, and they even have, you know, hot dogs and stuff. So let me go on the back. I'm going to show you something. Now this is the boss we saw the other day, and these are some Filipino customers. Now let me show you what the Costco sausage looks like. Here it is. Out of the deep fryer, man. Look at that. And look what else I got. I got some Heinz yellow mustard, and I'm going to put that yellow mustard on this stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Because if you're going to do something, I say do it right. Oh, I know. Excuse me, Bootsy would be like perfect for that right now. But, you know something? It's Bavarian sausage with a little bit of this white pepper and cayenne pepper on it. My goodness. Let me tell you something. I showed these sausages to the boss, right? I'll move a little bit. And the first thing he said was, how do you want me to cook them? Just don't do his thing, right? And because it's a pack of 8, right? I said, cook 4, and however many you want. He said, I don't want any, but I'll keep them here for you. and I'll cook them for you the next time. So he's going to put them in the icebox. Now, how cool is that? Taiwan is such a cool place. People are so cool. Anyway, I'm drinking this peach flavor. It's not really peach juice. Let me see. It has, it has, I'm still not used to this camera. It has 2.5% juice. That's fruit juice. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Anything I want. So, I'm drinking my signature, brand. You can see this color. My cinnamon infused, homemade cinnamon infused rum with this. I'm getting a message from Jan that says she's unable to, says, hi, I'm unable to click on it. It says only share, but you gotta, all right, listen, you have to click where it says live chat. Because other people obviously are using YouTube. We're on YouTube. Now something ominous happened. Jan, there you are. Okay, hi. All right, fantastic. When I tried to go live tonight from the night market, you know what? I'm gonna move. I'm gonna do this. It gives me a lot more room and a much more interesting background. I'm doing great, Jan, thanks. How are you doing? Hey, Coco, how are you? Yeah, it is good, I'm telling you. And with the cayenne pepper and the white pepper, You notice with the Periscope stream, there were 4 streams altogether. 3 of them were 2 seconds long and aborted because Prism Live Stream was unable to start a YouTube stream. I'd use my mobile phone, use Chrome, go to my YouTube channel, ask for the desktop site, go to their live control room, and I had to tell it I wanted to start a new stream, and it said, okay, waiting for the encoder. You know, start your streaming software now, and I went back to Prism and started it. Yeah, thanks. Mike, how you doing? Fist bump to you. Sorry I missed you. It's preoccupied. So, a few minutes ago, I got to look at Periscope because there's probably another 2-second aborted stream. Because what happened was, did the same thing. I had to go to my mobile, browser. I hope this isn't how we have to do it all the time. I gotta talk with Jake. Coco, it's always a pleasure to have you. Now, if you guys want to get a kit, go to this site. I'm typing. Whoops. Go to BootsyBarbecueTV.tv and you'll see Coco. Those videos that she just did. Now, I gotta tell you, I don't know what's going on with Periscope, and I'll tell you why. But first, I'm gonna take an alcohol wipe, and I'm gonna wipe my face, even though I gotta keep my eyes shut. Because I'll tell you, when I have like, there's a high AQI today. Excuse me. There's a high AQI today, and I just get stuff on my eyelids and things. And I find that the alcohol wipes just clean it off, and then I wait for it to evaporate, and wow, I feel great. Oh, sorry, Rob. You take care. You take care. It's hard for me to see, but for me, there's kind of something strange going on. Usually, the edges are. Let me try something. Usually, the edges are spring fit. Spring. Nope. Okay. It doesn't really. Never mind. Never mind. Okay. I want to talk about Periscope for a second. My little night market thing, you know, it says I had like 1,700 viewers. Now, right now I can tell I got 3 viewers on Periscope, I got 5 viewers on YouTube, and I got 1 viewer on Twitch because of the feedback from Prism. Tonight rather, I peaked out at about 43 viewers. Not views, viewers. Simultaneous people viewing the stream. But almost no comments. 1 or 2 comments. I don't know why it is. Now, I'm going to predict. See, the last couple streams that I did, like when I was down in Kaohsiung, I've been in the 800 to, I did one the other night. Gosh, I think it was, am I wrong? It was like 8,000. It said 8,000 views, I think, right? Thank you, I appreciate it. Well, I don't know why I would be placed high or low. I mean, I don't know. I'm one of the small channels, and it's true because the other thing I don't get is I see a lot of these Taiwan expat guys. I can't really speak Chinese all that good, all that well. They're not doing live streams. They're doing edited videos, which, sorry, I don't have time for. I put my studio time into audio recordings, music and stuff. But these guys get like 35,000 views in a week. And all they're doing is going around little places and asking the boss, like, Tosao Chen. Nobody says that. They say Tosao. Means how much it costs. I don't know. Just weird. It's a hard business. But thanks for sharing, Mike. But anyway, I have far fewer views on YouTube and far greater interaction on YouTube. I mean, look at this. This is all YouTube. Interesting. Now, when Dave's on Periscope, I mean, his chat stream looks like this. It's crazy. Of course, he's got like 35 or 32, $33,000, I think Dave has. But still, the chat stream is in proportion. Yeah, it is. It really is. The chat stream on Periscope is in proportion. And you know what? When they come out, when they fix this chat widget, so iOS can print it to the screen and you'll be able to do this, it's going to be fantastic. And you'll see comments from all of the platforms that you broadcast on, you know, at one time in the chat. I know you see it when you're broadcasting, but the other people don't on iOS yet because it's not there. Will be soon. But here's the thing. I don't understand how I can have 8,000 views and like 4 comments. I gotta sneeze. Oh, this is live TV, and I held it. What can you do? It's just bizarre and strange. Yeah. But I think what people are doing is they're going, oh, no chick, and they split. But I noticed, interesting. I noticed that if I use Chinese in the title, I think I'm getting views from people who read Chinese. Oh, which something happened today at the day market. I visited 2 markets today. This afternoon, a guy on Periscope actually, in Chinese, was talking to me in Chinese, just messaging. And for those of you who speak multiple languages, you know that sometimes you just space out on stuff. And I don't know why. Dave, you know what I'm talking about. You're looking at like, the writing. Hey, Wenwen, ni hao, ni hao. That was a surprise. Wasn't expecting that. Wow. It's the boss lady. She owns this property and the place next door that Dave was here last year. And so the thing is, right, is you're looking at these words and you go, I know what that is, but I can't think of what it is. And you space out. So what I got to go back and do is probably tomorrow or the next day, I'll get around to editing it. I'm going to annotate that scope because he said, oh, 老板，这个想想你试试看吗？你试试看吗？我吃一块就知道了。Okay, 好啊。He's gonna try this. I use this mustard on here. 这跟我的有没有一样？看起来好像不大一样。你吃吃看，蘸一点辣的。好吃吗？我们要跟他这个还不错。这个是德国是。德国工厂对，这是台湾做的。我买那个 Costco。哦。对，这个是公司是什么讲？普通。这是台湾的公司。英文是 FUTONG， 普通。不知道哎。Anyway, so I'm just telling him about the sauces. 还不错哈。还不错。Yeah, it's pretty good. So I invited him to try some. 稍微咸了一点点。那个皮有一点点对 yeah. So we're talking about the skin on it. It's a little bit crunchy. 跟我们台湾的香肠完全不一样。他们说我个人觉得还不错。Yeah, say it's not like the regular Chinese sausage is different. This is pretty good. So what I'm going to do, the guy today, at the end of my stream, I'm trying to get through this, at the day market, asked me if I was in Hsinchu. I said, yeah, but Hsinchu is a county. So I was in Hukou. And then he said, Hsinchu pork meatballs are good eating. And I looked for those words. And I'm like, I know what that means. And so my mind was preoccupied, and I just said, he's talking about some food aspects in Sinju, because I don't know what to say. I was like, so, how many times does that happen to you guys? Where you have to deal with multiple languages, and you get tied up, messed up? I can imagine something like JL, because, you know, JL is like, he must have an IQ of about 170 or 180. Because I asked him one day, I said, how many languages do you actually speak? And he goes, 7 or 8. He doesn't even know. Speaks so many he forgot. And one of those languages is Thai. Because we took him next door to the Thai place. And he had a ball talking with a Thai lady. And he's a rock star in Thailand in his youth. And she knows who he is. He told her his name, and she's like, wow. And she couldn't find him on YouTube, but she found a song that he sang that he's famous for singing. And she said, yeah, you sang this song, right? And we're around the table, we're going like, really? It's RJL? Yeah, man, it's cool. And so, when was leaving, the menu at the Thai place was in English, in Chinese and Thai. And I was trying to help everybody out, you know, who speaks English by reading it and telling them in English. So I don't know why I was doing that, because John Ho was here, but Jevons too. But JL looked over my shoulder, and he was actually reading the menu in Thai, and that's when I went, oh. So let me ask you guys this, because we haven't had a comment in 10 minutes. Who makes you feel dumb? Who makes you feel stupid? Yes, MJ, JL. So, and you guys know Dave, right? Dave knows a lot of Thai. Dave will tell you, man. Okay, good. I know. You're in the background working. I appreciate it. Dave knows a lot of Thai. And Dave will tell you. I'm usually saying, Dave, how do you say that thing in Thai? You know, we got the deep fried meat and the moo glob. Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Nobody but yourself? Well, that's a good answer. Lots of people make me feel dumb, but it doesn't discourage me. I don't get discouraged. It just makes me want to do better, you know, so. Well, if you don't know much, Dave, then I know nothing, you know. But some money transactions I can do in Thai. Of course, you know, place names, personal names, food names, a couple things. I have been trying to learn a couple of, you know, new, every so often, some new phrases, because I think it's important. There's a lot of Thai people around here. Yeah. If it involves food, yeah, I know what you mean. That's how I am. That's how I am. And the Thais appreciate it too. Fortunately for me, I have two types of friends. Thai friends. Not in any particular order. The first type is my Thai friends who are internationally educated. like Mr. Bancho, who is the most famous lawyer in Thailand. And he holds passports and citizenship from 3 countries, Thailand, Switzerland, and Australia. In fact, he's in Australia now. His wife, Dr. Sue, we call her. Sujanya is her name. Her family name is Sombatira. Dr. Sujanya Sombatira. How cool does that sound? PhD, educator. Again, she holds, that's Ben's wife. Bancho's English name is Ben. And she holds 3 passports. And there's Tammy, another PhD, business administration. So all these folks are overseas educated. They speak English very well. The English is super high level, so it's great. My other Thai friends, that's number 1. Number 2, my other Thai friends are Thai guys that I've known from Taiwan. And they all speak Chinese. So when I went to Thailand to play music with them and hang out with them, with the exception of Mr. Nom, who does speak English, everybody else speaks Thai. Now, I'm trying to think, do I happen to have I don't think I do. I was trying to see if I had the just give me 1 second, please. Do I have nope. Okay, never mind. We're gonna cancel. We're gonna cancel out of here. Okay. I play some stuff. I play some shows. I mean, just informal stuff, just like a little bar and restaurant when I was in Thailand. My friend Anu. And now that I understand how to use Prism Live audio, I can play all those videos. Which reminds me, a while back, I played a video from a song from a TV show from China, and it was part of my my lessons to my daughter Phoenix about not judging from the outside. How people look doesn't really matter. I mean, at all. Not really. It just doesn't matter. People's insides are what count. And I actually played this video, but because I didn't, because of the time, and this is funny because I was talking with Jake, right? And Jake told me that he now understands how Prism's audio works, but he didn't until I asked him to investigate these issues. And so he said that, you know, investigating he's glad that I kind of flushed this problem out. But now that I know how to do this, how to play multimedia so it's in stereo and it's balanced correctly, I want to play this again. This video is incredible. It's from China, and I think it's from The Voice, but don't quote me. Let me play this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my mic off because that's the secret. So I need to go here, and I need to go here, and we'll be right back. So there you go. Now, it's another reason I love Asia. So in case you didn't realize it, that gentleman was singing the male and the female parts. Many of these traditional Chinese songs, regardless of where they're actually from, if they're from somewhere in China or they're from Taiwan, they're duets. And so what I told Phoenix was, I said, you might tend to look at that person and say, well, they don't look like a star. They're not, skinny or what people might consider handsome. And I said, Phoenix, I said, like me, right? So what would happen? I know, yeah, isn't that amazing? So what would happen if you passed judgment on that person just based on their looks? And I could see Phoenix, my daughter, I could see the wheels turning. And I said, you might miss out. You might miss out on something good. And that guy has a lot of talent, and he can sing, man. And so, yeah. Jan, was the audio clear from the video? It should have been really clear. Nobody was expecting that. This guy came on stage and he looked like the John Panette of China, John Panette, one of my favorite comedians. Good. Good. All right, now, speaking of audio, Robert Monahan. I played one of his tunes the other day. I was in Kaohsiung. Excellent. Excellent. Good. See, that's what Prism can do, but you need to mute the microphone, then you're in mix mode rather than in loopback mode. Now, mixer mode, I should say. Robert Monahan has several other tunes, and I've got one of his tunes. It's actually in my studio right now, racked up on the machine. I have to finish it. It's a little bit time consuming. I'm going to need a couple more hours to get the mix right. But we're taking many of his old tunes and we're restoring them, from analog tape from over 30 years ago. And he's got one, and unfortunately there's a lot of guitar squeaking, like when you're playing a chord and it goes like between the chords. There's a lot of that stuff that I'm removing, and some he's doing some complicated finger picking, and he might drop a string and it'll go like bang for a second, and I gotta spectrally. It's funny because we're not using waveforms. I'm using actually a spectral display, and I got about a good 10 hours of editing into this thing. It's a great tune. It's called "Only When I Breathe," and his really ethereal section. We're singing "Only When I Breathe," okay? I took a sample of it with a digital reverb and just extended it through the whole mix. So background vocals are going like "breathe," and it's very airy. I'm super psyched about finishing that project and getting it going. It's really going to be great. All right, now, we don't have the bandwidth tonight to do any Skype calls, but we sure could do an AMA. Ask me anything. But it's not like truth or dare. I do reserve the right not to answer. But if you've got something you'd like to ask about Taiwan, or ask me something, now's your chance. But I sure enjoy sitting here and having this nice conversation with you guys, because it's great. Now I want to mention something because it's kind of funny. Well, Mike, go for it. I've got something. Now, on YouTube, you know, I don't have a lot of subscribers. I don't really care. I have no intention of monetizing my YouTube channel, because monetization means control. Because how they control you is they demonetize you, and then you go, oh, I better not talk about that anymore. Well, I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about stuff. I mean, I may mention something about Taiwan, about China, but I'm non-political, and you guys know that. But the thing is I don't want anybody to have any kind of that control. I'm sad. I mean, how could you not be? But I always tell the truth. I don't hold back. Just because you are a genius, are incredible, and are in the 1% talent bracket, doesn't mean you're invincible. Eddie's problem was he used cocaine and vodka way too much. Now he didn't use those things for partying. No. He was a straight partier. Those were tools that he used for work, for creativity. And a lot of the stuff that he did, well, he said, I probably never would have done these things unless I, took those drugs. I got drunk. I understand what he means. Now, for me, I never even smoked pot. Never took any of those drugs. But I will tell you something. There's a guy that I knew way back when, in Boston. When I got my first studio recording contract, he was the owner of the studio. He's still around. He's still playing with a major signed band. I'm not going to tell you the guy's name. But back in 1978, he was working with a lady who later on became a digital effects supervisor and even worked on the movie Titanic. He had to write an album. This gentleman had to write an album. So I was in the studio, and he brought down 2 bottles of Cordon Negro. Well, yeah, he smoked cigarettes, yeah. I'll get to that in a second. This gentleman, sorry, I gotta clear my throat. You asked me a question, I'm going to answer it as thoroughly as I can. Hang on. Hang on. I got to do this. Hold on. Okay. I had to clear my throat. This gentleman brought down two bottles of Cordon Negro and a bag of dope. And I watched him. I never did this before. I don't even know how to do this. He rolled. This bag of dope was like about this big. He rolled, I don't know, maybe, how was it, like 15 joints, I guess you call them, cigarettes, a pot. And I watched him. And he drank one bottle, and he smoked like half of the pot, and then he drank the other bottle and smoked the rest of it. And I looked at his eyes, and his eyes were like, you know. And he wrote an entire album of music. I watched him do it. It was astonishing. Now, the amazing thing is, how many times have you done something when you were drunk that you thought was great, and then when you sobered up, you realized it was crap? Yeah, this is true. I'm still in touch with him to this day. His band is going to release a new album pretty soon, and he gave me an advanced copy of it. I put it up on the speakers in my studio. Jeez, this guy's like 72, 75 years old. He's kicking butt and taking names. Oh, it's incredible. So here I am, watching this guy, and he wrote this album, and over the next 2 weeks, he recorded it with his girlfriend, and it was fantastic. And every song was killer. And you want to know something? That was in 1978, and I still remember some of those songs. That's how good the hooks were. You know what I'm talking about? When you hear a hit song, sometimes you only got to hear it once, and you know what it is. You remember it. Anyway, I understand how Eddie Van Halen wanted to do that, and I refer to that as unlocking like neural blocks in your brain so you can make connections. But I have a non-drug way of doing that. I have a meditation way of doing that. About cigarettes, I'm sorry, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for smoking cigarettes, okay? Because we knew about that after World War II. Yeah, he chose to smoke, and so did Johnny Winter and a lot of other people, and they did. I'm sorry. Eddie Van Halen is 1 year older than me, and I never smoked, so look at me. I'm telling you, that's what it is. That's what kills people. It kills people fast. They don't know it. When I came to this neighborhood, I had really long hair. Of course, I wasn't a practicing Christian at the time, but I had a beard. And, you know, the thing is, right, is over time I cut my hair and I shaved my beard. I'm looking younger. I look younger now. Plus I take, all right, you want to know something? Here you go. Let me show you this. I showed you this before. These are the supplements that I take. I gotta move this. So let me get over it to there. There you go. These are the supplements that I take, okay? And the reason I take them is because they work. So there are people in this neighborhood that I've been seeing for the last 15 years, and they seriously smoke cigarettes. There's a woman that goes over to the Jar Jar, and I saw her recently, and I didn't recognize her. And suddenly, the shock of recognition. She looks 20 years older than she did like 5 years ago. Every day she's over there sitting there, pack of cigarettes. That's what does it. But now let me get back to the real thing about Eddie Van Halen. When they came out, when Van Halen came out, I was a professional touring musician already on the road. I will never forget this. I was in Tennessee, in eastern Tennessee, playing at a gig, and somebody went over to the jukebox. What's the jukebox? How did I hear that? It must have been a DJ. Anyway, Van Halen's first hit was a cover. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Which in of itself is an interesting story. I definitely understand that now because CBS Records did that same thing to me a couple years after that about your first album has to have a cover on it. So they did, You Really Got Me by the Kinks, right? But I just remember being in this place in Tennessee and all of a sudden, they did. Hey, Matthew, nice to have you with us. Fist bump. That song came on, and it was really loud. It was in a club, and we were there in the afternoon. We're doing something. We were rehearsing or setting up or doing something, and we were like, "What is that?" And then when he came to the solo, and he was doing the solo, now everybody now knows that he was doing the finger tapping. So he goes ding, and he does a hammer off, and he goes da 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 da, and he just goes like this, and he just right. But unless you know that he's doing the finger tapping, as a guitarist, when you're listening to that, you go, "That's impossible. Those notes are too far apart. You can't go like you can't go like that." But he's going like this, you see. And it wasn't until a few months later that I went to Boston and I met some guitar players that were doing some of the tapping, but mostly what they were doing was would do like a what we call a gypsy tremolo, like they go like that. And then Brian May started doing it on News of the World on that song "It's Late," the solo. "It's Late," one of my favorite tunes. I love that. I have that on MIDI. I can actually perform that live with my Brian May guitar, and I actually learned that. Anyway, so it's another story. And Brian May started doing that because he was hanging out with Eddie Van Halen. They worked on the what was it, the Starfleet project, what they called it, I think. I remember going to another club after that. And we would play like week-long engagements at these clubs. And so the band would play a 45-minute set and take a 15-minute break, then we'd come back and play a 45-minute set. Some clubs would play 3 sets, some clubs would play 4 sets, and there was one club that I hated, we played 5 sets of 45 minutes. And you know what? Everybody says the rock star life. Let me tell you, you got to play 5 45-minute sets. I don't care who you are. You're wasted at the end of that. You have to pace yourself too. You're always better at the end. At least I was. I would hold back at the beginning, especially I was the lead singer, so I had to hold back. Now here's the thing. We're playing these clubs, and then I don't know. I'm not saying that he learned it. Brian May has even said, and I don't represent him or anything, but he's even said that he experimented with it a little bit, but he said Eddie Van Halen is the one that took it to a newer level. What I think is I'm comfortable with saying that Eddie Van Halen inspired Dr. May to explore that. That's my position. He inspired him because he inspired everybody. Eddie Van Halen was an alien. He was before Yngwie Malmsteen and all those guys. Nobody was doing what he was doing. I'm trying to tell you this. In 1977, I went on the road, and it wasn't long after that this record came out. Nobody knew what in the heck he was doing. There was no YouTube. You couldn't watch him. It's like, listen to these records. I'm going, damn, what's he doing, man? How's he playing this? How is he going from here to here on the fretboard, on the fingerboard? Only we didn't realize that he was using multiple fingers, like this, right? And so after I went to Boston and met these guys that were doing tapping and stuff, and I started incorporating a little bit of it. But here's the problem: you don't want to like incorporate a lot of it because then it sounds like him, right? That's the problem. And like Rick Derringer, who's been one of my absolute favorite guitarists of all time, has a couple solos on YouTube, and he's doing tapping and stuff, and it sounds really great, but I'm sorry, it just sounds like he's trying to play like Eddie Van Halen. Sorry. It's good, don't get me wrong, but you understand what I'm saying. So here's the thing. We would be playing these clubs for 45 minutes, and we take a break, and then the DJ comes on, and then this song called Eruption, and I was in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I still see, this is what's so amazing. You're asking me about Eddie Van Halen. I never met him, but this guy had a tremendous influence on my life, even if it was even just to poke me like with a stick. I was in Jacksonville, North Carolina at a club. We're taking a break, and Eruption came on. Now let me ask you guys a question. Do you know any other guitarist in the world that ever had a single hit record that was a guitar solo? Anybody? Nobody I know. Now, when I was on the road, playing in clubs, during the sets, we would do solos. You know, be playing a tune, blah, blah, blah. Guitar player stop. Drummer's got his solo. Go back into it. Bass player might take a quick solo. But then it was always the guitar players, right? But now wait a minute. On the last break, the DJ played Eruption. So here I am. I got 2 follow spots on me. I got 28, par 64 cans on. Those are lights. I got, 200 watts and 8 12-inch speakers behind me. What on earth am I going to play? What am I going to do? So we started doing finger tapping, and it's like, okay, we're just, we're posers. So we had to stop doing it because we're just imitating him. And that's okay if you're a kid in the bedroom. That's okay if you want to, be on YouTube. But if you're a professional musician, you can't go around copying people. You can take from them, and trust me, on my own material, if you go to mjk.asia and you listen to my stuff, yeah, you'll hear what we call influences. So, yeah, seriously, the only other guitar solo that I ever have heard of that was released as a standalone record was Jimi Hendrix' Star Spangled Banner. I think that's it. From Woodstock. So I'm 64. I started playing guitar when I was 12. So, 52 years, right? I can't play that stuff. Now, singing is a different story. Singing is where I can hold my own with anybody on this planet, even at my age. If you go to mjk.asia and you listen to my old stuff, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I wouldn't want to copy him anyway. I'm going to tell you that he was incredibly gifted, and he's very ingenious, and he had knowledge about the instrument that not many people acquire. And thing is he went supernova. That's a shame. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. His line of amps, I don't really know anything about. I don't know really anything about his line of amps. I prefer a little bit different guitar sound. You know, I'm more of an orange kind of guy, but it's cool. What I admire is that he found his own sound. I understand though that he used to use like a variac, and he would turn the voltage down so the tubes were kind of starved, you know. But he had an insight and knowledge of guitar that most people don't even come close. And we all had to compete with that. Steve Vai. As good as Steve Vai is, there's a YouTube video by Steve Vai on competing with Eddie Van Halen. Everybody had to compete with him because he dominated the whole scene. He's the one really, in my opinion, that started the modern era of rock guitar. Because when he came out, we were still in the 70s era. We're still in like the Paul Kossoff, you know, Jimmy Page, Pete Townsend, of course Brian May. Brian May, at that time, was one of the leading guitarists. He still is, because of his tone, his tastefulness and everything. I mean, you listen to like Bohemian Rhapsody, and I have the tracks to that song, and I soloed the guitar solo, and I put it on a loop and I listened to it for hours, just the solo, his technique and vibrato. It's a totally different thing with Eddie Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen, it was like, I said he's like an alien, like came from another planet. But I gotta say this too. A lot of what happens to people is a result of what they do to themselves. The choices that they make and the bad decisions that they make. And unfortunately, those things come back and they get you later. And here's the thing about me. I tried alcohol when I was young, and I liked it. And I tried sexual promiscuity, and I liked that too. And just those two things alone, oh, that's too bad. Just those two things alone got me in so much trouble that I made a conscious decision to stop there. And I used to see people that were high all the time. There's a band in Boston. Now, I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to get in trouble. But I liked them a lot. They were a rival band. The guitar player was really cool because he looked like Freddie Mercury, but he played like Brian May. That was so cool. And he's addicted to painkillers. And we just tell him, dude, what are you doing that for? You know? And there's another band in the same circuit, and then a singer, and his idol was Steven Tyler. Lord in heaven, don't ask me why. And when he sang, he sounded like this. Go figure. And I'd go up and I would sing songs, and he would say, wow, MJ, you know, your voice is so clear. Yeah, well, I don't smoke. Look, I need to make something really clear. Yep. That's why I never got into them. Couldn't relate to any of that. All the big names that I used to follow when I was a kid, like Edgar Winter, all clean players. One of the ways that you can be successful is to emulate success, or you can say you can imitate success, but you don't want to copy it. But you know what I'm saying? You can imitate success. And as a recording engineer and as a record producer in Boston, having done like something like 500 sessions, you can imagine, I've seen all kinds of people come into my studio to do stuff. And I've done like Star Search, you know, audition tapes, and it's just, you just want to slit your throat. I would constantly find people who wanted to emulate bad singing, bad playing, bad artists. And I would tell them, I go, look, you can imitate Journey, David Bowie. Of course, now this is back a ways, okay? So if I had to have this talk today, I don't know anybody that I could mention, okay? But back in the 80s, Journey, David Bowie, Bad Company, Queen, right? Or you can imitate Johnny Turd in the Commodes. So which one do you want to be? I need to see the, hang on a second. Oh, I see. Whoops, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Good for you, Jan. So what you did was you took responsibility. Fist bump to you. Nobody's perfect. What matters is how you handle the mistakes that we make. Now, I'm not saying, you know, that you made a mistake. But you did mention it, that you didn't go with the crowd. So there you go. Yeah. And it was a blessing, wasn't it? In the end, it was a blessing, right? So, Mike, I'm sorry I just gave you like a 45-minute, you know, discourse. But I want you to know that I really admire Eddie Van Halen, but I am also in the same sentence, I'm extremely disappointed in him. I wish I had known him, because as you know, one of the things that I like to do is I like to encourage people. Glad to hear you say that, Jan. It is a blessing. I never had any children until I came to Taiwan, and I had my daughter at 57, Phoenix. So she's going to be 8 soon, and I'm 64, and she just rocks my world. But I wasn't in my 30s and my 40s. I wasn't prepared. And I lived in America, and there's no economic stability in America. So yeah, I'm disappointed because one of the things that I talk about, you guys only know me from live streaming. She really, really is. Thank you. She really is. I'll have her on again soon. You probably haven't seen much of her, but Jan, if you go back a couple, well, maybe 2 months, Phoenix and I are sitting in our studio upstairs in our house, and we're reading Frog and Toad, which, you know, the children's books. You might want to see that. It's just pretty cool. It's about a 20-minute stream. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube and on Periscope, but it's probably easier to find on YouTube. Just go to the Taiwan Live TV YouTube channel, okay? Might want to see that. But all right, now, what was I saying? Oh, you guys know me mostly from live streaming and things. But I'm fortunate to have been a consultant in manufacturing, and I often have to talk with people. You know, I'll go into a boardroom with a bunch of, like, you know, $250,000 corner office guys, kick their butt and tell them stuff that, you know, they should be doing. You know, the goal of business is to make money and all this stuff. And what I always try to do is encourage people, you know, to do their best and not get discouraged about things, and to find things that they do very well, and that they don't need these crutches. They don't need things like drugs, and they don't even need to, you know, to follow bad examples and so forth. So I'm fortunate enough that I get a chance to do that a lot myself. But yep. So that's my take on Eddie Van Halen. The guy was ahead of his time. He was a genius. He was an innovator. They had so many problems with ego problems and whatnot with the band. Drug problems. I mean, I could tell you. I mean, see, one of the reasons that I never took drugs was because, and I told my management company too, keep this stuff away from me. I remember we went to a party, 1978, with my manager. We were playing at a club, and some guys invited us to their house for a party, and we went over there, and I don't even smoke cigarettes, and I'm like, and you know, there's a mirror, and some guy took a baggie and dumped this white powder out, and he's, you know, got a razor blade, and I knew it was cocaine, so I don't know anything about it. So, you want some of this? No thanks. And I said, how much is that worth? And this is 1978. He said that there was $4,000 on that mirror. And I looked at my manager. I said, you know what we could do? We could replace the whole bottom end of our sound reinforcement system, and we could, that finicky power amp that's always giving us problems, we could just get rid of that, and we get a couple more guitars and some other stuff. It's like the things that you know, people waste so much of their resources on, and they're doing it themselves. They really, really are. Like in this neighborhood, I'm going to give an example. The Filipino guys are always saying they don't have money, but they'll spend 40,000 NT on an electric scooter that they don't need. They can ride a bike. They go to work. They go to the store. They go to their dorm. The reason they got an electric scooter is so they can go to another city and commit adultery with another woman far away. So people often do stuff, and I get in trouble. It's their own doing, and I'm sorry, but it's just the way that it is. So the stories that I have with the rock stars that I know involving like, well, I'll just give you a contrast. One of my friends named Tommy Red was on tour with Kiss and he was on tour with Ted Nugent. And the difference is that Tommy Red told me that Ace Frehley, gotta be, Ace Frehley used to carry a guitar case around with him that was full of cocaine. His Les Paul case. That was it. I told you guys this before. But Ted Nugent used his guitar case as a suitcase. So he had like underwear and stuff in it. But look at Uncle Ted today. I mean, seriously. Have you guys seen Ted Nugent? Looks like he's 45 years old. Doesn't smoke, doesn't drink. Married man, doesn't play around. He lives on a ranch. 100% of the food that he puts on his family's table is food that he hunts on his own land. Free range, grass fed. There you go. So now years ago, that guy I told you was a big fan of Aerosmith. Me too. You know, and back then he sounded like this. What do you think he sounds like today? We're roughly the same age. What do you think he sounds like today? So you can be, you know, like Journey. Or you can be like Johnny Turton the Commodes. In 1981. Yeah, you should. And you know what? You might not know, but Ted is huge in the hunting community. He's got hundreds of hunting videos that he shot and produced on DVD. Now, I don't think there's anybody that doesn't know that he's a rock star. Well, there probably are people. Yeah, it's not bad. Especially the no smoking and no drugs. I know what you meant. There may actually be people that don't know him as a rock star. Wouldn't surprise me. Because he doesn't, you know, it's when he's you know, doing the hunting videos, he's not talking about playing rock and roll. But anyway. The last one. I do. MJ had a backstage pass to the 1981 Journey concert in Boston Garden for the Escape Tour. That would be my favorite too, I think. It takes a lot of skill. See those guys though, who go bear hunting with a bow? Woo. So Mike, I had a backstage pass. I put it in the inside of my jacket. So I got in there and I just went like this and then like walked wherever I want. Right up to the bottom of the stage, looking up. Now, by the time I saw Journey, I'd been a professional musician pretty much all my life. The Escape Tour. Yeah, yeah. That's when Jonathan King, right? The keyboard player came around in front and played guitar on Stone in Love. So it's dun 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 dun, right? Dun dun dun. So Neil Schon could do his solo thing. When Neil Schon plays, you guys probably don't know this. He's doing Chico. Every time he does a solo, he's going. You can see him. He's pumping. He's compressing. Yeah. Matthew, take care. Nice to have you with us. Always a pleasure. And he's like, yeah. He's the real deal too. I saw him, seriously, I saw him 10 meters away. He's not a poser. Neil Schon is a real thing. I met him after the show too. But I had him backstage pass. So I'm telling you, you to me, as they say, my hand to God was just you to me. I was looking at Steve. By that time, I was already a touring musician, a recording musician, very experienced, and I actually saw Steve Perry sing all the way to fatigue. Now what happens with the voice, when you're singing a note and you run into fatigue, it just shuts down. It just stops making noise, sound, and you have to wait. Now the recovery time depends on things like, are you a smoker? Are you a heavy drinker? Are you a druggie or whatever? And Steve Perry's none of those things. Steve Perry's in good shape. He was in his prime. So he would just, he made it to the end of the phrase, but I'm telling you, only another professional singer could see that, and I could hear it. I was right in front of him, seriously, very, very close to him. And he's really good. I'm telling you, Steve Perry is very, very good. And even today, he's not a poser. He's the real thing. Andreas Bocelli. Steve Perry is the real thing. Now, he's up there, and I come to you with open arms. He's doing this really amazing, he's high pitch. Every note is, if there's no auto-tune, he doesn't need auto-tune. The guy can sing. He's got good hearing. He's got good control. He's got good vibrato. But a couple times he would run out. I'm just watching him. And it would come right back about 20 seconds later. And I experienced the same thing. Remember I told you guys that I was doing those sometimes 3 sets, sometimes 4 sets, sometimes 5 sets a night? Yeah. On those 5-set nights, you would be singing, it's gone. So what do? You play guitar, you goof around, you come back. So I knew it and he knew it, and probably nobody else knew it. But here's what happened. That was the first night. They played 2 nights in Boston Garden. All right. I love that feeling though. I love that feeling, man, where you got and it's like you're sore and stuff. Excellent. Rob, how long does your weightlifting routine take? What's the amount of time? And I'm sorry. Not only do I have a studio upstairs in my house, I have my own personal gym, and I don't use it because I'm too busy recording. I'm sorry. Oh, I got to get back into it. I got to start lifting again. So Journey played for 2 nights. Yep, that's right. Boston Garden's gone, man. Became the Fleet Center and who knows what now. And so it was 2 nights. I was there on the first night, and so the guy I was with, Dave Tedeschi, he said, let's get out of here because this is the last song. Let's go down. Let's go down backstage. It's okay. So we're backstage. I was, like I said, it was in my jacket on the inside. So I just flashed my jacket open and okay, went back. I remember Mark Parento from WBCN. I'm just gonna name names. Mark Parento, one of the big disc jockeys in the '80s. Mark, he walked back in the back and he's like, first thing he said was, "Who's got the cocaine?" I know Mark Parento when I see him, and we kind of know each other, but we're not friendly. So Neil Schon came out, but what happened was Steve Perry, the band was on stage, and they were doing an unbelievable solo, and Steve was going to take a break, and he went backstage, went down the stairs, and he was walking towards the room, right? Jan, I'm not awesome. I'm just an old man with a lot of memories. So he's walking towards the hospitality room, where all the guests are. And so he tripped. And he said, can we get some blah, blah, blankety blank? Can we get some light over here? And he got in the limousine. Because what's going to happen, I was right across from him. I was getting ready to put my hand out. I wanted to shake his hand. Nice to meet you. Yeah. And he got in the limousine, and he took off, and he left the band on stage. He was so mad. They were doing an encore and a solo and stuff, so they had to say goodnight without him. We're downstairs in the hospitality room, and we heard him, Jonathan Cain and Neil Schon and Steve Smith are like, "Good night, see you guys, see you tomorrow, blah, blah, blah." And then Steve and Jonathan split, but Neil Schon came downstairs, and I remember he's very short, but we don't care about looks. Because the thing is, remember I told you I had my backstage pass, right? And I said, "Would you mind signing, my girlfriend's name, who I later married?" He said, "No problem." Now it's like down here. He goes, "Okay." He signed it like up here. So, but he's an awesome guitar player, incredible. And I tell you what, I've seen a zillion bands. I've seen Led Zeppelin twice. I've seen The Who with Keith Moon. I've seen ELO, Foghat, Johnny Winter, Edgar Winter. I never saw Journey make a mistake. Yeah, but stature doesn't matter. Physical stature doesn't matter. I didn't see Journey make a mistake. They're incredible. They sounded just as good, maybe better on the album than they did live. And another band that I saw that was just as good was Boston. Tom Schultz is another genius. Yep, and Brad Delp. You guys have never heard me ever talk about my birthday. Never. And you never heard me wish anybody else happy birthday. I hate birthdays. Brad Delp committed suicide on mine. I don't want to think about that. But anyway, those were the days. So, the good news is we're back in action. We're doing more stuff. I've been spending more time lately working on other people's music at my studio. I had more output from other people's stuff than I have from my own recently, which is pretty funny. But I'm going to explode pretty soon. Yep, you're right. But a lot of those guys are dead. But here's, there's it's kind of a dichotomy, with the recording community, if you will. I'm considered a dinosaur. you know. But I mean, I grew up and became a recording engineer back when we had, you know, Recording Engineer and Producer magazine, and we had all these great bands that sounded amazing, like the Tubes, all these great mixes, and all the people that I worked with, you know, Dave Dassinger and Ellis Hall, and those guys, you know, they've all gone on and done amazing things. Of course, I had medical problems. That's my problem. But I want to point something out. Every one of those old records was done on analog tape. There were no computers, there were no plugins. All those records, I never saw a single waveform on a computer. I didn't care what the waveform was, I had my ears, and they were trained. So, good. So in my studio, I have two consoles. I have an analog console, and I have a digital console. And I'm trying to think, do I have a picture? I'm going to check real quick and see if I got a picture of the analog console that I can show you. But the thing is, right, is I'm going to talk anyway. The thing is I use a DAW, digital audio workstation, but I don't use any plugins. I can if I want to. I just don't want to. I don't have a need for it. I don't use plugins, and I don't use any of those. I mean, I use a DAW only. Here's one. I use a DAW only. This is my analog console, and that's my drum machine there. Now all those wires and stuff. See that stuff on the floor underneath that? I did a really major rewire in the last 2 weeks, and have cleaned all of this stuff up because I finally got everything configured the way I want it though. That's a vintage drum machine over to the left. So that's 16 channels on the left, and there's 8 in the middle that are groups, and there's 16 on the right. So it's a 32 channel analog console. That's it. This is in my home studio. And so when I tell people that I'm using a DAW, but I'm not using the master track, the master bus, and I'm not using stereo channels, but mono channels because they go into the console, people think it's like so weird. But that's how we used to do 24 tracks. See, that console right there could do 24 tracks and have 8 left over for effects returns, even though there are 4 stereo effects returns built into the console. Yeah. Actually, I may have another messy picture of the digital console. Let me just check and see. I don't know if I want to show this or not. This is all part of the, might as well. It doesn't matter. This is part of the rewire. That's the digital console on the left. Yes, there are. Yeah, oh yeah. My Vox amp has a 12AX7 tube. Now, if you look over there, I made some changes because I added a new monitor. This is actually a little while ago. There's the drum machine again. But on the left, that's a Behringer X32. It's turned off, so it's not lit up. When it's lit up, it's really beautiful. So there's a monitor over to the right. But if you look above the Behringer, there's another little console. That's a DP32. All of that is gone, and there is a curved monitor. The curved monitor is is for editing, and I'll show you what editing a waveform looks like on the curved monitor. I should have that here. I did a little quick video. Yeah, here you go. I did a little quick video of this monitor. So this is what it looks like. The curved monitor and the yellow and orange is the spectrum, and the blue is the waveform. You see what I'm saying? So yeah. So you can do spectral editing and waveform editing too. So that is that's the curved monitor that I got. So anyway, what I'll do is not now, but in a couple weeks from now, I'll just use my mobile phone and I'll do a stream, you know, from the studio, and I'll show you guys what it looks like, and it'll be cool. But right now it's a mess. I had to buy another chair for it for the right height, and I drilled a bunch of holes in the cabinet because I put the console power supply in a cabinet to isolate it sonically and a whole bunch of other stuff, and I drilled holes in the legs of all the furniture to put like wire molds in there, you know, to wire tracks, you know, to put the wires in. So it's 10 times better than that. I took those pictures at the beginning of the Rewire project just to take a look at what it was, you know what I'm saying, instead of what it is. So but I still got a lot of cleaning up to do. And the problem is I can't clean it up because I'm in the middle of these projects. Like I spent like 8 hours today on Robert Monahan's stuff. Every little squeak, every little buzz. That curved monitor that you saw and that spectral display that you saw was one of Robert Monahan's tunes, and it's pretty interesting. If you guys would find that interesting, I can set my mobile up on a tripod and shoot the monitor and show you how to do spectral editing. It's pretty amazing, because these days, you know how like with Photoshop, for example, if there was somebody, you know, in the background and you wanted to remove them in Photoshop, you can do what's called in-painting, like with Affinity Photo. That's what I use. I don't use Photoshop. I use Affinity Photo. But you can in-paint stuff, and what it does is whatever you're trying to get rid of, it takes information from the surrounding areas and covers it, right? It just clones it. You can do that with audio. It's amazing. You can go along and a guitar will be playing a chord, and all of a sudden there's like a little bonk, a dink or something like that where they make a mistake. And you can actually, just like with Photoshop or an editor, you can paint that in the spectrum. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, with Robert Monahan's tunes, there are 35-something-year-old analog tapes. They sound like this, okay? And I'm restoring them because we have the ability with spectral editing. It's really amazing. It's really quite astonishing what you can do. So, yeah. Now, I'm going to say this. I can't believe we've got no engagement on Periscope. I've had 10, 20, 30 viewers at a time. Right now we got 12 viewers on Periscope. I don't know what's going on. All of the engagement is on YouTube. If you ask me, YouTube is real. YouTube is real. But I'm going to tell you something right now. I would rather have 50 real views on YouTube than 5,000 fake views. It is, Rob. And I'm going to tell you something right now. You, with your technical background, are fully capable of understanding all of it. What you need is the ear training, but that's it. Because when you look, let me show you this again. Let me explain this to you before I play it. The bottom, where it's very bright, excuse me, those are low frequencies at the bottom. And as you go up to the top, they're higher frequencies. Now, the brightness represents the amplitude or the volume at those frequencies. So you can look at that spectral view, and that is, you know, the orange color. Forget the blue. The blue is the waveform. Now, this editing software allows you to show any combination of the blue or the spectral. And usually when I'm spectral editing, I get rid of the blue waveform altogether. Looking at this waveform, you can see that the bottom end frequencies are very heavy. But if you look at the top, they're sporadic. So it means that the high end is not consistent. But that's how like guitar stuff is. So that means that when he's playing, he's letting the bottom strings ring, and he's picking the high strings. You see what I'm saying? Now if you look, there's two vertical lines. Those are markers. Those are markers that I put so I can navigate to those places within the song. Now the marker that's on the right, if you look immediately to the left of that, you will see a bunch of spectral stuff up towards the top, kind of like little smudges. Now let's see what I can do. Can I, hang on, no, hang on. Can I do this? No, hang on. Okay, now, right here, that little smudge there, that's a high-end smudge that may or may not be an undesirable noise. So what you can do is, with one of the tools, you can actually go like this and paint that, and then you can select one of the menu items over here on this side. That's called spectral repair, and you can either replace it with information to either side of it, like this over here, or you can attenuate it. You can just pull the level down, and it works. And that's so amazing. It's very, very, very much like editing a photo at this point. And there's even a brush that you can use. And they also have a magic wand, which some of the photo editing applications have, which enables you to select things that like are of similar luminosity or maybe a similar chroma and value. And so you can select things that are of a similar sonic value the same way with the magic wand. It's incredible. And so you end up with this spectral display, and you can see that those are hits. Every time you see a little line, those are hits when he's hitting the pick on the guitar. And so that's the kind of stuff that I've been doing. And the name of this software is Isotopes RX8, and it's absolutely fascinating. RX8. And I wish I had it 30 years ago. But there is a problem. And I'll tell you what that is right after this. Some of the records that people are releasing today are so incredibly perfect that they are impossible. They're scientific impossibilities. Nobody can play like that. I know one mastering engineer that told me that he individually tunes each note. I asked him, why on earth would you do that? Why don't you just have the computer play the song? I mean, that's what we're coming down to. We're coming down to, with artificial intelligence, yeah, the latest song, ladies and gentlemen, by the androids. There isn't a human being that's playing on it. That's where, why would you do that? It takes the life out of it. And so you get into turd polishing. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot polish a turd. And what happens is some of these bedroom recordists, and I don't understand why some of these guys are getting so big. They record in the bedroom, and the records sound like crap. It's like they haven't listened to anything from 30 years ago. They don't know. And so everything's auto-tuned. Some guys in my neighborhood I talked to, yeah, I just auto-tune everything. And I said, oh, well, you can't sing. And he got offended. But it's the truth. If you go to mjk.asia and you listen to Gotta Keep Dancing, the end of it, the high scream, I had to do it about 10 times to get it the way that I wanted to. Now, if I only had one take in me, and that's all I could do, well, that'd be a different story. So most of these people that are doing this stuff in the DAW, in the bedroom, that's all they got. They got one take. They got it almost by accident, so they got to polish the crap out of it with all this software to tune it and truncate it and put a fade in on it and a crossfade, because they don't know how to sing and they don't know how to play. So, anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I promise you guys, very soon, I'm going to have some new music for you, and I think you're going to like it. I have some things that are in progress, but I don't really want to do it. I don't really want to show you right now. Thank you so much. Okay. Got some stuff that you don't need. I understand. Thank you very much. Love to you too. And I hope you get that salt. I'm sorry to hear that, Jan. But you know what? What you told me tonight, I admire you a lot for that. Thank you. Yeah. You belong in the late night club. And please contact me and I'll add you in our line group, okay? So, yeah, rehearsal is. But so many of these guys, you know, like that Day Wave mixing competition. Gosh, if you heard the original tracks, you know, this on the website they called them immaculately crafted stems, and I'm telling you, my goodness, in 1985, the studio owner would have said, "I'm sorry, MJ, you're fired." Why? Because of the crap recording that you did for that client. I would have got fired for putting stuff out like that. It was clipping. It was distorted. It had some kind of crappy spring reverb on it. It was on one side. It was like, it wasn't even balanced. It's like, what is going on? I'm sorry. I sound like an old man. But there is one difference. This old man can put up. I can shut up too, but I can put up. So yeah. Because when you listen to that mix I did, I'm the one playing the guitars. So there you go. Rehearsal is your best editing tool. Yeah, and you want to know something? You know who was the most well-rehearsed band in the world? Who do you think was the most meticulously well-rehearsed band ever? Who do you think? Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Try not to be rants, but Mike, who do you think? Yeah. When I was with the Britain band, we were not allowed to improvise unless something went wrong. But this is how well rehearsed we were. We had 16 hours a week of vocal training alone. I knew all of the other guitar players' solos. He knew mine. I remember one night we had some weird failure. I broke a string, and for some strange reason, we didn't have our spare strings with us. Now, that was the roadie's fault, but whatever. It's okay. I'm a professional. So, I just told the other guitar player, "You got my solos for the rest of the night." Yeah, the Britain band. The Britain band was one of them. But and we patterned ourselves after them because of this. The most meticulously rehearsed band was Queen. Yeah. Right. And they were notorious, and their whole thing was the only improvisation that they would do was sometimes, Brian, they would play the solo just a little bit different, but all the chord structures and all the background stuff that was going on was 100% what was on the record. When they deviated, it was on purpose to change it up, you know, for the that would be with a U, to change it up, you know, with for the audience, and when they went into different tunes, which I really like, because if you look at Live Aid, the solo of Bohemian Rhapsody, when it goes dun 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 dun, it ends on A. Then they went into a song in A, which is really cool. That's how you do it. The reason that they stole the show is because they were meticulous, and they were the most well-rehearsed band. And reportedly, they used the most recording tape of any band in history. That's what I heard. But anyway. So, too bad we didn't get a chance to work together, but I sure am having fun with their multi-tracks. Now I will tell you this. I did a mix. That's because of the rule in English, where every Q has to have a U after it. Now don't ask me why, because I didn't invent it. But that's why pinyin screws people up, because they're using Roman letters. Now remember, pinyin, that is the Romanized spelling of Chinese words. Pinyin is not English. I believe, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard that pinyin was based a lot on French, but like Q-I is chi. The Q sound is like a CH. So Qing, like Qing Dynasty, is Q-I-N-G, which does not exist in English. So anyway, I will tell you this. I'm not supposed to, and it's not in the wild, but do you guys know the Queen song written by Brian May and actually sung by Brian May called Long Away? It's on A Day at the Races. It's the album after Bohemian Rhapsody. He used a Burns 12-string with a really clean sound. It's very, very interesting. It's a very compelling sound. Anyway, I did my own mix of that tune and I mastered it, and it sounds crazy. The tracks almost mix themselves. It's considerably brighter. I had problems controlling the cymbals because I only used 3 tracks on the drums: kick, 2 overheads. Minimum, I used to use 7 tracks, but kick, snare, toms left and right, sub, overheads left and right, and a hat. And in these days, using a drum machine, I'll put a ride cymbal on a separate track for 8. But yeah, I had to really rein those cymbals in with some compression. But I'm astonished. By the way, what you may not know is that Bohemian Rhapsody has at least 5 tracks of lead vocals, and they're all slightly different. It's pretty amazing if you rack all 5 tracks up and play it and hear the different phrases that he does that are slightly different one from the other. But it's really cool to hear Freddie going 1, 2, 3, 4. Is this the real life? It's pretty amazing. All right. What time is it? Oh my goodness, I got to get up early tomorrow. It is a holiday. We got some plans tomorrow. It's the double 10 here in Taiwan. You know, that's the national day, so. But, Mike, I believe you know how to contact me directly. Why don't you go ahead and contact me directly? Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure, and always enjoy talking with you guys. And you know, thanks for not. Thank you, Rob. Thanks for not chastising me for being brutally honest about things like people who get themselves into trouble, because they do. And I think young people need to hear this. I really do. You know, I love people. I love all of my followers, and you know I do. And it's just, I say these things because it bothers me. It bothers me a lot, you know. And in private, I shed tears over these things because they bother me a lot. And you know, the only solution to mankind's problem is God's kingdom. It's the end of the story. But we have to live with things in the meantime, and it really bothers me. And I just try to encourage people to do their best and to be their best, and you can. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter, you know, where you're from, what language you speak, what color you are. It doesn't matter if you're fat or skinny, man or woman, or what your viewpoints are. You can. Character is everything. It's about character. Practice character. Be the kind of person that you want to be around. When your mom used to compare you to so-and-so, be like so-and-so. Be the kind of person that somebody else's mom wants to compare their kid to. You hear what I'm saying? You can do it. It's hard. And if you need encouragement, here's what I want you to do. I want you to write me an email. Late night at Taiwan Live TV. I got all the free encouragement that you can handle. All right. I love you guys. We're going to say goodnight. Have a good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining. It's AJ Klein for Taiwan Live TV. 再见，晚安. See you next time. Good night. Fantastic broadcast. Thank you so much.